Good morning, class, and welcome to Fractions Lesson 3. So today I'm going to start off with a video. Here we go. So we're going to be talking about finding parts of a set, and this video I really like, so here we go.
What we're going to do is take a look at fractional parts of a set. So in the past, we've had parts of a whole, and today we're going to talk about parts of a set. So let's look at 1/4. This is a unit fraction because it has a numerator of 1 and has a denominator of 4. So if I had a circle here and I wanted to find 1/4 of it, I would divide it into 4 equal sections. Today what we're going to talk about is taking a set of circles and finding 1/4 of that set. So 1/4 of that circle would be this blue region, but 1/4 of these 8 circles would be 2. And we'll talk about this problem in a little bit. So here we have 12 Hatchimals, and the task is to find 1/3 of the 12 Hatchimals. The denominator of our unit fraction determines how many equal groups we're going to make. So we need to make 3 equal groups out of these 12 Hatchimals. All right, and I have a group of 4, another group of 4, and another group of 4. Notice they are all of the same size, and there are 3 of them, which matches our denominator. The question was, find 1/3 of the 12 Hatchimals. So the question, basically, how many Hatchimals are in one of those groups that we made? And there are 4. So we can say 4 is 1/3 of 12. Let's take a look at finding 1/2 of the 12 Hatchimals. Now, keep in mind the denominator of this unit fraction will determine how many groups we need. So we take the 12 Hatchimals and we split them up into 2 equal groups. And how many Hatchimals are in one of those groups? 6. Let's go back to the 8 circles from the first slide. Find 1/4 of the 8 circles. So I need to split these circles up into 4 equal groups, and one of those groups contains 2 circles. So 1/4 of 8 is 2.
All right.
What we're going to do is take a look.
So I thought that video was really good with what I want to talk to you guys about. So I'm going to show you my PowerPoint now. All right, so finding a fraction of a set. So we can't actually do this in person, but normally we would all have 8 counters, and we would find as many ways as we can to divide them into equal groups. So I'm just going to show you my thinking for each part, and I kind of did it step by step. So when you want to find equal groups, if you want to find 1/2 or 1/4 or 1/3, or just find how many different ways you can do it, you can always start with 2. 2 is a great number to start with. You can always divide something into equal groups of 1 because that would just be the number. So since this has 2, 4, 6, 8, has 8 circles, you can divide it into 8 equal parts, which would be 8 groups of 1, right? But so don't really focus on the 1. I always like to start with 2 when you're just finding equal groups. Unless you were trying to find half, then you would think about what would half of the pictures be. So here, groups of 2. There are 4 groups of 2. And they're all equal, right? The fraction is 1/4 equal parts because you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you were to focus on 1/4 of it, it would be 2 out of 8 or 1 out of 4. 1/4. All right, groups of 3. If you wanted to try to split it into 3, you can't actually make equal groups. So we have 2 groups of 3, and then we have 2 left over. So it's not equal groups. So you would not be able to have equal fractions here. Groups of 4. You could have 2 equal groups of 4. The fraction is 1/2 equal parts. Because if you look at 4, it's 1/2 of the total of 8. Groups of 5. You can't make equal groups. You have 1 group of 5 and 3 left over. Groups of 6 and 7 would have the same problem. You'd have 1 group of 6 and 2 left over, or 1 group of 7 and 1 left over. However, groups of 8, 1 group of 8, it is an equal group with none left over. The fraction is 1 whole. So remember, if something's the full amount, it's 1 whole. All right. Here are some ways to make equal groups with 12 counters. Think about sharing the 12 counters. So 2 equal groups of 6. Each group is 1/2 of 12. So 1/2 of 12 equals 6. So if you were to take the 12 and split it in half in 2 equal groups, each group would have 6. This one is 3 equal groups of 4. Each group is 1/3 of 12. So if you were to put the 12 into 3 equal groups, so 1/3, there's 4 in each. Okay, so this is just splitting them into equal groups. And sometimes it's specific, sometimes it is not. All right, Jody had 12 dimes. So remember, a dime is worth 10 cents. She gave 1/4 of them to her brother and kept the rest. She gave 1/4 away. If we were to split this into 4 equal groups, each group would have 3, and there'd be 4 equal groups of 3. She gave 1/4 of them to her brother and kept the rest. How many dimes did she have? So if she doesn't have these ones anymore, she has these ones right here. Here are 12 dimes in 4 equal groups. Each group has 3 dimes. 1/4 of 12 dimes is 3 dimes. Jody gave 3 dimes to her brother. She kept 9 dimes. 9 dimes is 3/4 of 12. So 3 out of 4 equal groups of 12. All right, now I'm going to show you what you get to do for practice. Great, so don't forget to write your name. Number 1, find equal groups. What's 1/2 of 8? So when you find a half of something, you want to split it into 2 equal groups because you're splitting it in half. If you think of a pizza, I'm just going to draw you a little picture here. You were to draw a pizza and you wanted to put it in 1/2, you would literally split it down the middle. And you would tell me what the 1/2 is. Okay? 1/2. Okay? All right. I'm going to delete this now. Erase this. All right. So you would write how many is in the 1/2 down here. You just write it in one way. All right. 1B is 1/3 of 9. So if we wanted to take these 9 grasshoppers and we wanted to split them into 3 equal groups. So 1/3. Think of 1 out of 3. We want to make it into 3 equal parts. And I want you to tell me how many is in 1. So if we were to split it, 1 group of 3, 2 groups of 3, 3 groups of 3. So how much is in 1 of the 3 parts? Okay. All right. 1B. How many grasshoppers are in 1/3 of 9? You write the number here. C, 1/4 of 12. So when you think of 1/4, remember, think of how many quarters are in $. There's 4. 1/4 is another way of saying 1/4. So if we were to split it into 4 equal groups, so we think of the denominator, how many is in one of those groups? That's what you're telling me. All right. You write the answer here. Can you divide 12 dimes into 12 equal groups? Yes or no? Feel free to draw a picture if you like. Can you divide 12 dimes into 5 equal groups? When I think of equal groups, I always like to take the numerator that they're talking about, and I like to count by that number. So if you were to count by 5s, would you land on 12? 5, 10, keep going. If you skip it, then it won't be equal groups. But if you don't skip it and you land on it, so if I was counting by 3s, I would go 3, 6, 9, 12. So I do land on 12. So it would be equal groups. But because if I was counting by 5s, do I land on 12? Yes or no? Let me know what you think. Number 4. So here we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 circles. And I want you to tell me, what is 1/3 of the 18 circles? So if you were to split them into 3 equal groups, because 1/3, how many is in one group? So you feel free to draw this on a piece of paper, or if you can somehow get a tool to write on here, drawing would probably be helpful. Or if you can just do it in your mind, that's okay too. But I want you to do it in the best way that works for you. So if you were to split it into 3 equal groups, how many is in one of those groups? 4B, what is 1/2 of the 18th circle? So if we were to split this directly in half, how many is in one of those groups? That's what this question is. 4C, what is 1/3? So if we were to split it into 3 equal groups, how many is in each group? All right, and that's it. Good luck. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'd love to help you out. I know this is new and it's hard not doing it in class, but I know you guys are going to do really great. And feel free to ask me for help anytime. All right, good luck.